even some sleet and snow around, but snow is always quite tricky to forecast that specifically. That being said, we do have an area of low pressure making its way southeastwards at the moment, and it's this around it we have some outbreaks of rain, a bit of sleet and some hill snow pushing southwards across parts of England and also Wales overnight. Across Northern Ireland, fairly frequent showers pushing through, and these could be a wintry mix. Also across northern parts of Scotland, plenty of showers here. Central southern Scotland actually having some clear skies, so temperatures plummeting. A very cold night here. Elsewhere, well, it is going to be chilly for sure. Some frost, some ice to watch out for as well. We start the day across the southeastern third of England on a pretty wet note. Some hill snow as well to watch out for. A few showers pushing into coastal parts of Wales and southwest England. Wintry showers and icy patches to watch out for over parts of Northern Ireland and northeast England and across the northern half of Scotland. Well, here we have plenty of showers feeding in on that brisk northerly wind which is bringing Arctic air down, and so no wonder we're going to see these showers readily falling as sleet or snow. Could see up to 20 centimetres developing perhaps over some modest higher ground. Even elsewhere where we see those showers coming down both down the eastern side of England and some western parts, southwest Wales, southwest England, we could see some lying snow as well. It is going to be a cold day, temperatures for many a little bit lower than today and feeling pretty raw indeed, despite the fact that there will be some sunshine around. Thursday's actually looking pretty similar to how we end Wednesday really, sticking with that northerly wind, so showers in the east, the north and perhaps towards the west, and these could be falling as rain, sleet or snow over any modest higher ground. Into Friday, and after a very cold frosty start for many, some rain's going to arrive later.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even a tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead. We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. The government is spying on your social media posts about immigration and...
Unfortunately, I am the one that is regularly called and told to go back home. It is I...
Labour wants to cut illegal immigration, but for all the wrong reasons. Plus... I'm going to reveal a shocking story from Calais that the authorities don't want you to know about. Also tonight... The ambassador, we just want to give him a box of not British secrets. I know, but it's not British secrets, that's the thing. Do you only accept boxes that are? MI5 issues a new warning about China. Sir Ian Duncan-Smith is live on this show. Plus... Councils tell Brits to grit their own roads despite charging you more in tax. And...
We saw you the other day. We asked you some questions about where you were getting all the tools from. You couldn't answer them.
Robert Jemrick is also on tonight to talk about the scourge of tool theft. On my panel this evening, we are joined by GB News contributor Will Kingston. We've got the Tory MP for Tatton, Esther McVeigh, and political commentator Jonathan Liss. And what did he just say?
What did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including JP Morgan Chase?
Oh, we have to stay tuned to find out what happens next. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. The government is spying on you. Next.
Patrick, thank you. The top stories. Nigel Farage has backed Shabana Mahmood's asylum crackdown after the Home Secretary told the Reform UK leader to sod off. Mr Farage told a Central London press conference today, rhetorically, we would agree with a lot of what she said.
Frankly, I don't actually think that most of what she said will make any difference at all. And as for the gimmick, you know, we're going to take away people's watches and earrings, and I mean, this is just never going to happen. And rhetorically, fine, following very many of the things that we've been saying for some years, but in practice, I doubt much of it will actually happen.
It comes as the Home Secretary unveiled one of the toughest asylum shake-ups in decades. She says she'll get her reforms through Parliament, despite anger from the Labour Party and unexpected backing from the Conservatives. Her plan brings in 20-year waits for permanent residency, tougher and faster removals, new visa bans and an end to guaranteed financial support. But critics warn the package is dystopian and inhumane. However, she says the package will restore order and control at the border. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy says accusations that China is trying to interfere with the UK's sovereign affairs are pure fabrication and malicious slander. It comes as a message that circulated to all parliamentary staff, says the Chinese Ministry of State Security is using LinkedIn, recruitment firms and professional headhunters to make contact, gather information and build long-term relationships. Two individuals posing as recruiters have been singled out as operating at scale on behalf of Beijing, with MI5 warning other fake fake profiles are also being used as espionage fronts. Security Minister Dan Jarvis says the government will not tolerate covert and calculated attempts to interfere with the UK's sovereign affairs. Mr Jarvis announced a package of measures in the House of Commons to tackle espionage threats to the UK. The US House has voted overwhelmingly to make the Justice Department release files related to Jeffrey Epstein. The US House voted 427-1 to compel the Justice Department to release all of its files on Epstein. The bipartisan bill will now have to pass a Senate vote before President Donald Trump signs it into law. Earlier, survivors of Epstein spoke at a news conference at the US Capitol. Annie Farmer says they've suffered institutional betrayal for years. And the Met Office has issued an amber weather warning for snow as it said power cuts and travel delays on roads were likely in the first notable cold snap of this autumn. It comes after snow fell across parts of Scotland already as wintry weather grips the northern half of the UK. The Met Office had issued yellow weather warnings for ice and snow across almost all of Scotland for today, with the exception of some parts of the east and west coast. The Weather Service has issued an amber weather warning for snow in parts of Yorkshire on Thursday between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. A yellow weather warning has also been issued for snow and ice across parts of southwest Wales and southwestern England from midday tomorrow until Thursday. And those are the latest headlines. For now, more from me in an hour.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Good evening. Civil servants are being advised on how to spy on your social media posts about immigration. If you say that you're annoyed about illegal immigrants being given houses in your town, or you're worried about the safety of women and girls, your messages could be deemed high risk. This is the new Resist framework that instructs civil servants to monitor posts for high-risk narratives that could adversely affect certain ethnic groups or new migrants. One of the examples it gives as potentially dangerous are local parents groups. They might cross the line from free speech to harmful rhetoric, or concerns about asylum seekers being given priority housing or benefits that locals have to wait years for. So just look at this today from the Daily Mail. The Mail reported today on a couple living in Newport in Middlesbrough, which is apparently Britain's poverty capital. So sorry to say that on air, anyone from Newport who's watching, but apparently 6 out of 7 kids are classed as living in poverty there. And this couple say that they're not happy that asylum seekers get more handouts than them, like free phones, free food and free accommodation. Is that dangerous to say? Might that stoke community tensions? What about highlighting the town in Surrey where the local council has earmarked £5 million for Afghans to get housing, while 2,500 people sit on the housing waiting list? What about people posting about the case of an Iranian small boat migrant guilty of raping a 15-year-old girl in Oxford? What about the story reported by The Telegraph about the asylum caseworker whistleblower who revealed that she was told to grant asylum to an Afghan man who had been caught exposing himself in a children's playground multiple times? Well, it turns out that the Cabinet Office has a team of 6,000 civil servants working in the Government Communications Service tasked with, quotes, stopping online disinformation, producing counter-narratives and protecting departmental reputation. I don't think they've got much of a reputation to defend, have they? But anyway, this is sinister. There's more, though. Local government association guidance advises officials on how to counter information about the arrival of asylum seekers settling into hotels and vacant military bases, and the sudden closure of the town's hotel to accommodate said asylum seekers. Look, this is pretty outrageous. If you move several hundred Afghans, Eritreans and Somalis into a leafy English countryside town, you are going to get a reaction like this. Today's spying revelations come just months after the Daily Telegraph revealed that there was a secret Whitehall spy unit targeting social media posts criticising migrant hotels and two-tier policing. That was reportedly being done by officials working for Peter Kyle, the Technology Secretary. This comes as news broke today that British nationals are currently fleeing Britain under Labour. 257,000 Brits left the UK last year. It was predicted that only 77,000 would go. Now, 143,000 Brits also returned, but of course that leaves a net loss of 114,000. So who do we think this 114,000 is? Is it just millionaires? Well, I think it's young, ambitious people too. Yesterday, I spoke to a young man who's doing very well for himself, started his own business, works very hard. He moved his family out of Britain after his young daughter's school in London made the children do a lockdown drill to prepare for a terror attack or a lunatic with a knife. Millionaires are leaving and low-skilled migrants likely to end up on benefits are coming in. If you run a football club, and every year, the most talented players from your youth teams left and moved to other clubs, that would be a crisis, wouldn't it? And if they were being replaced by less good players, some of whom have never kicked a football in their lives or have any intention of ever kicking a football, you would expect the fans of that football club to start getting very angry about it, wouldn't you? But look at what's happening here in Britain. We're losing our best and brightest, and we're bringing in tens of thousands of Deliveroo drivers and benefits claimants. And the government's response to that is to spy on your social media to try to make sure you don't moan about it online. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We, of course, have GB News contributor Will Kingston. We've got Tory MP for Tatton, Esther McVeigh, and journalist Jonathan Liz. Good evening, all. Thank you very much. Esther, I'm going to start with you on this, actually. So, what's your response to finding out that civil servants are essentially spying on people's immigration tweets?
Well, first of all, there's always been a communications centre for a government. They've got to get out the policies, they've got to get out what they're doing and get the information out. However, it has significantly grown under Labour, and what we've seen as well, they've now appointed a permanent secretary as well for this government communications service. So what I would say is they're not dealing with the problems, they're not solving the problems, so what they're going to do is either put out information, so you could call that propaganda, and also stop what people are saying. So in that regard, it is quite sinister. So when the country talks about this government's gaslighting us, well, absolutely it is. If it doesn't like what you're saying, it's going to have some sort of corrective unit. And as I said, that means they're not dealing with actually the issues at hand.
It's also just insulting to our intelligence as well. This was like when the government was being accused of being unpatriotic, and then the next day all of the Labor Party came out with flags, waving them around, saying, you know, how patriotic we are. They think that if you just spin a message, if you put a message out there, people will blindly just go along with it. It really is, like, it is annoying and it's insulting to our intelligence, but it's not surprising. Like, this government has shown repeatedly now that they want to control how people act, what people think, particularly in the online realm.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, some of these things are just legitimate concerns. So about people being given things like priority housing, about safety of women and girls. But according to that, those could be dangerous, according to people in the civil service here.
Well, I think it's important to disaggregate what's happening. So this is not, as I understand it, about identifying people who are committing crimes and then getting the police to pursue those people. So it's not a kind of a Gestapo-type operation. What it is, from what I understand, is identifying the things that people say online that are not true, that are being spread widely, and finding ways to put out information that is more factually accurate. There are some things that will be opinion-based, and that's fine. People are absolutely entitled to their opinion. And also people are entitled to say things that aren't true. That's not a crime. But it is a responsible government that would try and put out information that is actually true.
So it's not actually just about things that aren't true. So it's not like someone saying something factually inaccurate, like there's going to be a new asylum centre here when there isn't. It is genuinely things like parents' groups. So concerned parents who get wind of the fact that there is now genuinely an asylum centre right next to their kids' school, and if they're on some of these Facebook groups or things like that, they are being monitored. They are being monitored by the government, it seems.
Yeah, and also things like groups might say online, oh, We've been waiting for a council house for years and years and years. We're not on it. We're still on a waiting list. But we've seen that people who've just come into our country are now either in a hotel or a house. So that is true. That is a genuine grievance. But the resist unit will look at that and then put it out, overlay it with, no, the policy is working. We will be building 1.5 million new homes, which they haven't got a hope of doing that, and you will be housed. So that isn't putting the truth out. That is a form of gaslighting. That is saying, no, you're wrong. Check what you're saying. We are dealing with this, and actually it is you being oversensitive, hypersensitive, and it is you being racist or not open-minded enough.
We're paying for this, right? So we are paying the wages of the civil servants so that they can monitor our own tweets about immigration.
Well, they're not replying to individual sort of Facebook posts. You know, no one from the government, so Big Brother is not sort of, you know, replying to, well, actually, you're wrong on this particular point. But I think
but they're then bombarding you with, like, counter-information, which is, as I said, a form of gaslighting. It's saying you're wrong and this is what we're doing.
It's not gaslighting, Esther.
It is gaslighting.
The government's allowed to have its perspective, so is the Conservative Party, so is any other party. They're entitled to buy internet advertising to make that point.
But if you've been waiting on a housing list, you're still waiting on a housing list and you're a British citizen, and yet somebody who's an illegal immigrant has just come into a hotel. You're not wrong, are you? You still haven't got your house. You are right.
It's not true that asylum seekers are leapfrogging people on those lists anyway.
But they're going straight into a hotel.
More broadly, why should the government be the arbiter of the truth? If there's one thing we learnt through COVID, it is that when the government puts out information, many times it can be wrong. And if it is being put out in a way like this, where people expect a government to have some sort of integrity and some sort of like semblance of facts behind it, then it should be up to the media, it should be up to alternative voices, it shouldn't be up to the government to say what is true and what is not true.
Well, I don't think that you expect the government to have any integrity, and people will expect...
No, not this one.
I expect the government to have... Obviously, I expect the government to have integrity. Right. I also expect the government, like any other government, to have its opinions.
Yeah, but all I wanted the government to do is stop illegal immigration or build more houses, and that's the solution.
Can I whiz on to... Because the other part of this is these net migration figures, OK? So 257,000 Brits left the UK last year. It was predicted to only be 77,000, and this could be considered a bit of an exodus, right? And my concern is, as I said before, that we're losing our best and our brightest and people who have the potential to go on to be very, very good wealth creators, and we are replacing them with, frankly, as far as Britain's economy is concerned anyway, less good people.
Yeah, I can simplify this. Rich people are leaving and poor people are arriving, and that is not a good thing for an economy. But I think in the DNA of the Labor Party, many of them, even if they don't admit it, go, good riddance, you know, if the wealthy want to leave, that's fine. And they don't understand that it is the wealthy that provide the lion's share of income tax revenue, and that will have to be then taken up by the middle class and the working class, which is why, again, we're going to see tax rises in the next budget.
Are you concerned by those numbers of Brits leaving? I mean, essentially, there was that slightly crushing reality today of finding out that the initially I was like, oh, brilliant, net migration figures are down. Oh, this is good. And then I realised they're down because so many Brits are leaving.
Okay, so
net being the key word.
So there were two bits to it, to be fair. What Rishi Sunak did to stop dependence coming in for foreign workers and students did bring it down significantly, as what he did by raising the threshold, your earning threshold. But fundamentally, I have said for a long period of time, it's not just the wealthy who are leaving at the top end. It was actually students going to university, younger people thinking I will have a better life elsewhere. So there's a whole host of people going. And then I would say this was the government's resist unit again saying, no, I was wrong. All these people weren't leaving. There might be 14,000 wealthy people, but not everybody else. No, actually, people in their droves are leaving. And it's not just about Rachel Reeves' terrible budget. It is also about the crime on the streets. It's also about what they've done to education and what they've done to private schools. And people are leaving because they say, you know what, I can have a better life elsewhere. You are destroying the infrastructure, Labour.
Esther, governments, most of all yours, did everything in their power to make Britain a hellhole to live in for many people, a miserable place where wages are completely stagnating, no one has a hope of having a better life than their parents did. They see that people can go to countries like Wales and make twice as much money for doing the same work if you're in healthcare, for example.
Which is true.
Of course, there are people who want to leave Britain because Britain is actually quite a miserable place for a lot of people.
And I will say it has absolutely been turbocharged since Rachel Reeves' budget, since what they've done to private schools.
Only started in 2024, come on.
The crime, the criminality. No, I'm not saying it hasn't, but it has absolutely gone off the Richter scale. And what we need to do is stop that and bring people back to this country.
Crime is down in this country.
Oh, it's not.
It is down. Violent crime in London is down.
So I'd say this is the resist unit again.
It's just a fact. It's just statistics.
Only 93 people were killed in the capital last year.
Which is a record low, possibly in history.
Basically, less blokes are punching on it in pubs and there are more knife crime and sexual assaults. This is the danger when you have high-level statistics. You can trick people into actually a narrative, which we can go back to this little unit that's going to be built out.
What it doesn't factor in as well is other things. Just to round us up on this, all of the preventative measures that we now have to take. So when you've got primary schools doing lockdown drills in case a jihadi or some kind of lunatic with a knife comes in, and let's say that happens, obviously hope to God that it doesn't, but when that lockdown drill works, they'll be able to say, right, no kids were killed today, but the fact is someone tried anyway, didn't they? And that's the thing that we're seeing. We're seeing so many attacks thwarted. We're seeing so many security measures everywhere. You know, rings of steel around a Christmas market, for goodness sake. I had a look last night at Krakow's Christmas market in Poland. You know, there's not one bollard anywhere around there. There's not one barrier anywhere. You don't see armed police walking around all the time from the pictures that I saw at all. It's just a nice, pleasant Christmas market. Why is that? Because they've looked after their own borders, really. And this is one of the reasons why people like my mate have decided to go to Portugal.
Poland's foreign policy over the last 50 years has been different from Britain's. Obviously, Poland has a different demographic of people. Clearly, there are different threats in Poland.
Why do we have multiculturalism bollards now and we didn't have them 20 years ago? What's the big difference? What's the one variable?
That is...
What's the one variable?
The phrase multiculturalism bollard is completely outrageous.
What is the one variable?
Completely outrageous.
What is the one variable? Answer the question.
Well, for one thing, Poland hasn't made its business to invade Muslim country after Muslim country like we have.
It's our fault,
That's one thing. I'm not saying it's our fault. I'm saying there are reasons
why Britain is a
target in a way that
I wish we hadn't invaded Iraq as the bomb goes off. You know, it's our fault, really. Right, OK, a government spokesperson has said, we are committed to protecting people while online, while upholding freedom of expression to ensure the internet does not serve as a haven for those looking to spread harm, both online and offline. The Online Safety Act introduces clear duties on platforms to tackle illegal content and content harmful to children, including false and misleading information that can cause real-world harm. Companies must assess the risks to their platforms and put in place the appropriate protections for users, helping to protect democratic debate and public safety online. Brilliant stuff. OK. Well, look, I've got a couple of pretty light-hearted stories when I come back from you, unless, of course, you care about not slipping to death outside your own front door. But before that, it's time for the Great British Giveaway, Christmas style.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash, so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GBNews Christmas goodie bag. And the best news? You'll get it all in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, good luck, everybody. So, shortly, I'm going to reveal a pretty shocking story for you from Calais that the authorities just don't want you to know about. Wait till you hear this one. But first, though... So apparently, local councils now, despite charging you more money than ever for council tax, are expecting you to grit your own street. That's next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good evening. Just before we carry on with the show as planned, in the break I was told, Patrick, we've had a delivery for you. A viewer or listener has sent you a Christmas gift. So I went outside, say thank you very much, by the way, send them all in. And it turns out, anonymously, someone has just sent me a loo roll with Keir Starmer's face on it. So, don't know what to make of that. It did come in a box, but there were some puns on the box that I'm not allowed to read on air. So there you go. I don't know who you are or why you sent it to me, but thank you, I think, for the toilet roll with Sir Keir Starmer's face on it. There we go. Anyway, time now for the head-to-head. Councils are charging record levels of council tax, and now they're making you grit your own road this winter. Councils across the capital are asking for people to become snow angels and winter buddies. They want you to pick up a shovel, go out in the freezing cold and spread your own grit because they don't have enough resources. I mean, this is happening in London now, but last night in Cumbria, they saw the first snowfall of winter, and people are worried that tight-fisted local councils might cut back on gritting right across the nation. One council, Haringey, ramped up council tax by nearly 5%. and they're saying that residents might have to go and collect their own salt before spreading it themselves. And as your council taxes are on the rise, should you be expected to grit your own road this winter? Well, I'm joined now by the Conservative councillor for Bromley Council, Will Rowland, and the policy analyst at the Taxpayers Alliance, Simeon Lee. Simeon, I'll start with you. Do you think taxpayers should expect a bit more from their local councils here when it comes to grit?
Well, I think taxpayers should be expecting more from their local councils. I don't think we should be relying on the goodwill of the public to deliver essential services. Certainly not when we're paying record amounts of council tax, more than £40 billion last year. You know, taxpayers are working harder than ever to make ends meet. They have to pay the bills, they have to send their kids to school, they have to run errands. Many don't have time to even clean their own homes, much less, clear public roads. And of course, elderly people and the disabled won't be able to do it even if they want to. So, what happens when there are not enough people volunteering? What happens when there are patches of gritted and ungritted road? Will the council fill those gaps? My guess is no, and local residents will just suffer, worse services in the form of more dangerous roads. I mean, you can call it whatever you like, but we've seen this all across the country. Councils are doing less and less, whether it's collecting bins less frequently or fixing fewer potholes. And frankly, people are sick and tired of seeing their council tax go up each and every year, while services just get worse.
Well, Will, go on. I'll put it to you. I mean, some councils, not yours, admittedly, have made local residents rename their gritting machines. So we've had things like Grit Me Baby One More Time, Gritty Gritty Bang Bang, David Plowie, Sleetwood Mac, I like, and of course the Gritter Showman. But of course, in some councils, you're never going to see David Plowie, are you? Because he doesn't turn up. He's in the lockup, and actually, it's elderly people like Ethel who's got to shovel salt onto a driveway with our arthritic hands.
Well, obviously, I can't speak on behalf of other councils. I can only speak on behalf of Bromley, and in Bromley, that's certainly not the case. We've got in Bromley one of the largest road networks in London, 500 miles worth, 870 miles worth of pavement as well. We do send the gritters out, albeit that we don't give them fancy names. Although that's probably we won't even go there, to be honest, Patrick. But we do go out on the blue light roads, the main roads. But the thing with Bromley is that we have quite a lot of towns and villages. That's what our borough is made up of. And as a result of that, we do have a lot of country lanes. And we end up with one of two problems. The first problem is that they're quite often too narrow to actually get a gritter down. Right. And the second problem is that once you get the gritter down there, you can't always get it back up. We do, as I say, we do grit the main roads. But one of the other things as well is, whilst I completely appreciate the point that my counterpart is making, it's also about getting the community involved. One of the reasons why we do this in Bromley is because people volunteer to do it. It's not a case of us forcing them to do it. It's a case of them actually volunteering to do it. And I'm all for community. Well, I'm sure you are as well,
just so we are clear, Will, it's just as well they volunteered to do it, because if they weren't volunteering to do it, it wouldn't be done, would it?
Well, to be honest, if you look globally, countries like Germany, it's the law that you've got to grit the pavement, get rid of the snow outside of your front door. Same in some states in America. Japan, they have a similar policy where it's not legally enforced, but it's very much encouraged. And councils have never actually done this. I mean, I'm originally from Derbyshire, and I can never remember them coming down and gritting our road, primarily because they wouldn't have been able to get a gritter down it. And I'm sure it's the same for everybody on this call.
Well, I don't know, really. I mean, I wouldn't say I've got fond memories of the gritters, but I certainly remember them. I can remember it being a thing when I was young. All the gritters are out, And I don't know. Go on. Do you want to come back to that then? Because I suppose Will's put a relatively decent case forward there for why people should be gritting their own roads. What's your argument against them?
Well, I think you're right. I wonder how many of the people are doing it because they've given up on the local council being able to do anything about the problem. And, they've realised that you can't rely on the government, and the only way to get something done in this country is very often to do it yourself. I mean, we've seen that with other services, with potholes where they've gone unfilled for so long, or the contractors sent by the council have done such a terrible job that people, are going out there and filling potholes by themselves. And, good on those people for doing that. But I think the fact that they need to do it in the first place points to something having gone very wrong in society. I mean, the social contract is that we pay our taxes in exchange for public services. But more and more, those public services are, not working as they should be. You see that with bin strikes, you see that with tube strikes, you see that with doctor strikes. And, long-suffering taxpayers who often have no choice but to adapt and find a way to live with the mess and the inconvenience. And some people in government may say, they've learned to live with it, so, everything is fine, we can just continue as we are. But, in the long run, that's something that's hugely damaging, I think, for the social contract, with the tax burden on track to reach a post-war record high. Many people are rightly wondering what they're paying for. And what we need is a government at the national and also at the local level that, steps up to the plate and says this should not be happening. And we will fix it rather than continuing on this path of managed decline.
All right, guys. Well, look, we'll have to carry this on another time. However, I'm not allowed to say why I am in Bromley, I think, but we'll be in Bromley relatively soon for something that we're doing at GB News, a nice thing. So, Will, I might volunteer to be one of your snow angels. Okay, maybe we could get a high-vis jacket on and help out.
Absolutely. Bring the wife, bring the kiddie as well, make a play of it.
All right. OK, both of you, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Conservative Councillor for Bromley Council, Will Rollers, and policy analyst at the Taxpayers Alliance, Simeon Lee. We have reached out to Haringey Council. We're awaiting response. And volunteers, as part of their Winter Buddies scheme, grit and clear snow in areas that are apparently not part of the council's schedule. But, yeah, that's kind of the point, isn't it? Maybe it should be. But anyway, coming up. Right, so, you are not going to believe this, but it's true. 2 smugglers who were part of a gang caught with 7 Sudanese migrants and a haul of equipment for channel crossings have avoided jail, but find out why. First, though, the ambassador. We just want to give him a box of not British secrets. I know, but it's not British secrets, that's the thing. Do you only accept boxes that are? The Chinese spy machine is back in action today. Will Sir Keir Starmer grow a pair and block their super embassy? With Ian Duncan-Smith's on, next.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's going to be an unsettled week across eastern parts of the Mediterranean with intense thundery rain by the weekend. Further west, it's drier, but there will be some rain around northern coastal parts of Spain, also pushing into parts of Portugal and West Spain as well. Also some rain across southern Italy, but it's further east affecting Greece, Albania, Croatia and other nearby nations. This is where we're going to have the heaviest, most thundery rain, particularly as we go Friday and into Saturday. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, this is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Now the cold theme will continue as we go through the next 24 hours, meaning there's going to be some frost, some ice, even some sleet and snow around, but snow is always quite tricky to forecast that specifically. That being said, we do have an area of low pressure making its way southeastwards at the moment, and it's this, around it we have some outbreaks of rain, a bit of sleet and some hill snow pushing southwards across parts of England and also Wales overnight. Across Northern Ireland, fairly frequent showers pushing through, and these could be a wintry mix. Also across northern parts of Scotland, plenty of showers here. Central southern Scotland actually having some clear skies, so temperatures plummeting. A very cold night here. Elsewhere, well, it is going to be chilly for sure. Some frost, some ice to watch out for as well. We start the day across the southeastern third of England on a pretty wet note. Some hill snow as well to watch out for. A few showers pushing into coastal parts of Wales and southwest England. Wintry showers and icy patches to watch out for over parts of Northern Ireland and northeast England and across the northern half of Scotland. Well, here we have plenty of showers feeding in on that brisk northerly wind which is bringing Arctic air down, and so no wonder we're going to see these showers readily falling as sleet or snow. Could see up to 20 centimetres developing perhaps over some modest higher ground. Even elsewhere where we see those showers coming down both down the eastern side of England and some western parts, southwest Wales, southwest England, we could see some lying snow as well. It is going to be a cold day, temperatures for many a little bit lower than today and feeling pretty raw indeed despite the fact that there will be some sunshine around. Thursday's actually looking pretty similar to how we end Wednesday really, sticking with that northerly wind, so showers in the east, the north and and perhaps towards the west, and these could be falling as rain, sleet or snow over any modest higher ground. Into Friday, and after a very cold, frosty start for many, some rain's going to arrive later.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. The Chinese spy machine is at it again. Today, MI5 warned MPs and parliamentary staff that Chinese Communist Party spies were targeting them by using fake online profiles to draw them in a bid to get them to divulge sensitive information. It comes just weeks after the government was accused of collapsing the Chinese spy case by refusing to classify China as an enemy. This is despite claims that China did all sorts of stuff, including hacking computer software in Downing Street and stealing classified state secrets. But Labour Security Minister Dan Jarvis told Parliament,
"Let me speak plainly. This activity involves a covert and calculated attempt by a foreign power to interfere with our sovereign affairs in favour of its own interests, and this government will not tolerate it."
Right, but they are tolerating it, aren't they? And I'm joined now by the Conservative MP for Chingford and Woodford Green. It's Sir Ian Duncan-Smith. Thank you very much. Tremendous to see you. So they are tolerating it, aren't they? And we're about to get a Chinese embassy the size of a small fortress.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, they more than tolerate it. In a funny sort of way, they can't welcome it. Because what's happening now, we've had endless cases. Interesting, at the dispatch box today, he said they were a threat to online practices. They were a threat to the BNO Hong Kongers who had fled persecution in China. They were a threat to our businesses, to our manufacturing. He went through it, the threat to our democracy. And I got up and asked him, well, you've got about 9 threats there that they pose regularly right now, including this spy one. So, and the collapse of the spy trial before, and other threats then. So with all those threats, does that make China a continuous threat to British national security? And he wouldn't answer it.
No.
He just folded up on it.
But it's
And I
madness.
thought, what? Are you mad?
It's
you can't have all
madness.
these threats and not be a threat. I mean, this is...
Why are they so weak on it? Look, this is the million-dollar question, and my viewers and listeners, we all want answers to this. Why is this Labour government so weak on China?
Because they have this obsession after they have pretty much screwed up the economy over the last year. They're now in a complete flat panic about growth. All the normal stuff that you'd say gets you growth, like cutting taxes, not overcharging farmers, not making things like farms have to pay inheritance tax, crack down on national insurance. All this stuff it stops growth. But instead of that, they're going to raise taxes, but they want growth, so they think to themselves, well, we go to China for growth. They'll give us investment. China hasn't done any foreign direct investment since about 2017, and it doesn't want to. All they want is to dump their products on our markets. So electric cars made by slave labor, batteries the same, solar arrays, wind farms, they're all made by China, and they dump them on us because they don't obey the rules. They subsidize their businesses, and they have slave labor. That is not growth.
The other concern, Sir Ian, sorry, but the other concern with that is not just that they're dumping cheap goods made by slave labour, but they might have actually be spying on us with those goods. So, for example, the British military, I'm sure you've seen this, have now had to issue a decree to everyone in the British military to not connect their phones to the Bluetooth in their Chinese-made electric vehicles that we bought, presumably very cheaply, or to have any conversations over a certain threshold of sensitivity. it? Because we basically bought Chinese electric vehicles, or parts in them are Chinese anyway, from our armed forces. It's bonkers.
Well, I have to say the armed forces need a jolt up the backside too while they're at it, because there was a case that showed that they were buying uniforms made in China. They also, we discovered over the weekend, have been saying, oh, wonderful, we've now got these 3D printers, we can make, you know, all sorts of products from them, you know, guns and all sorts of weapons, including drones. And then you look on the label, it says underneath, made in China. So the whole idea, and the other one, we know for a fact that even Downing Street had what we call IoTs. These are these little Internet of Things. They're the little double communication devices that were reading all the stuff coming out of the Prime Minister's car, had to be stripped bare. You know, this is who we are dealing with. They are a group, a country, a communist party that doesn't like the West and wants to change it. And in the meantime, they will get their business by hook or by crook, and we will pay for it. It's a disaster, and this government really needs a couple of electrodes on it to wake it up, because it frankly doesn't seem to understand what a threat looks like. It looks like China.
They don't even refer to us particularly politely either. We're going to have to end it here, but I just want to read this quote. The Chinese say, "We strongly condemn such despicable moves of the UK side and have lodged stern representations with them." So they are telling us off for finding out that they are spying on us. It's the whole thing is nuts. But we're sorry, babes. We're going to have to move on. But I would love to talk to you again very soon on this, and maybe do something longer form as well. I think all the best. It's Sir Ian Duncan-Smith there. What a man! Right. Okay. Coming up next, this is a great story in a way. It's the insane excuse that people smugglers have just used to basically get away with it. Stay tuned.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here. GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Get ready for an absolutely bonkers story. So, 2 smugglers who were part of a gang caught with 7 Sudanese migrants and a haul of equipment specifically for channel crossings have miraculously avoided jail after telling police that they were racing their cars. They were caught in 2 separate stops, each by French police, and taken to court, where they have been allowed to walk free with no jail time. Now, this incredible outcome is the latest in a string of outrageous cases, which has seen those caught smuggling migrants into Britain just released. So the professional driver was arrested in fact 16 miles southwest of Calais with 7 Sudanese migrants in February, and phone records analysed by French detectives found him making several trips to the coast since October 2024, going back and forth. Now, as part of this probe, 2 other people were arrested and more evidence was built up. Now, this included another private driver caught, again, you guessed it, with the equipment needed to cross the channel. Well, the first private driver caught with the Sudanese migrants, he stayed silent. The second private driver told the court that he carried out a few races as part of his work. Hey, I'm just racing around Calais with the Sudanese, yeah. And the others, 2, were punished. One was jailed for organising illegal migration, sentenced to a year in jail. The other was banned from France for 2 years. He's probably in Britain now, isn't he? But prosecutors are now appealing this judgment. Joining me now is the chairman of Migration Watch UK, Out Mehmet. Out, so it's not just Britain, is it, where we have these bonkers cases? In France, they were, got away with it as well.
It's not only our judges that are daft, I'm afraid. It runs through the judiciary, the Europe all over. Look, the French are in just as much difficulties as we are. They're tied into the whole process, the whole system that is imposed on them by by Brussels, by the Commission and all that. But that aside, when you look at the numbers, there are 160,000 asylum seekers last year in France. There are something like 1 million asylum seekers coming into the EU. There are 240,000, again, the latest figures for 2004, who have been detected crossing illegally. No wonder they're throwing their arms up in the air and saying, what's the point with all this?
You would have thought, though, if you caught someone with 7 Sudanese lads in the back of his car and all the equipment you would need to cross the English Channel on his way to Calais, that might be a pretty open and shut case.
Well, it may be, but I'm afraid that you or I or John we're not sitting there in judgment, and those who are, they've got an eye on the ECHR, they've got an eye on the 1951 Convention, they've got an eye on the sort of cases that have been determined, and I'm afraid everything that's happened over the last 10, 15 years pushes them in one direction. Let them off. Don't send them to jail. We're already crammed. And that is going to continue. And what is more, it's going to get worse here, notwithstanding what Shabana Mahmood announced yesterday, which was pitiful, frankly.
But this just shows why we can't rely on anyone other than ourselves. So the French haven't deported any of these people. One of them has got a banning order from France for 2 years, so that's not going to bother him. I mean, he wasn't engaging in legal practice anyway, by the looks of things. So they're just going to be back at it, right? The only thing that we can do as a country is deport these people ourselves, isn't it, when they get here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. What we should do, and we can't because of the ECHR, we must detain, having detained, deal with them quickly and then remove them. And if necessary, send them back to France. I know they say, oh, no, we can't and all that, but we can. If they are here illegally and we don't give them asylum, then they should go back to France. Simple. It's as straightforward as that, if we only had the courage to do that. And I'm afraid no government that we've got and seen in recent years has been prepared to do that, and they won't.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
depressing.
I mean, Jonathan, do you think that the French have got questions to answer here, really?
It does seem strange that a judge would have accepted that particular excuse, and I suppose in Britain, if it had gone to trial, that if evidence would have been put to a jury, and a jury would have judged as it saw fit. Clearly, we have a problem, and we've been talking about this for several years with people smugglers who are making a fortune, and we have outsourced the job of dealing with migration.
But we're going to smash them. We're going to smash the gangs. We're going to do nothing of the sort. And the more we fail in smashing the gangs and stopping them, the more will come, frankly. Everything that the government has done is only going to encourage more and more illegal immigration.
I mean, the message that this sends, if I was a human trafficker, is that I could literally be caught with 7 Sudanese blokes in my car on the way to a beach with, like, a boat and an outboard motor in the boot of my car, with phone records that show I've repeatedly made that journey, and I'm still not going to prison. I just think this is how much the French care about stopping the boats, isn't it, really? Which is, I would argue, not a lot. But, look, thank you very much, Al, and thank you very much, Jonathan, as well. Tremendous to have you there. And as well, can I just say, France obviously has a totally fair and really thorough justice system. OK.
No, it doesn't.
So, on the 13th of November, we reported that Schools of Sanctuary was promoting pro-asylum seeker or open borders views to children, such as encouraging Valentine's cards for asylum seekers, and that they had been asked by the Department for Education to identify schools refusing refugee pupils. Now, we hadn't heard back from them at the time, but the organisation has since told us, we're not directly involved in the delivery of activities in classrooms. The activity in question, undertaken in a small number of schools, has been fundamentally mischaracterised. Children were not writing personal Valentine's cards to adults in the asylum system. Pupils wrote brief, anonymous messages to welcome. Simple statements like, welcome to our town, or we hope you feel safe here. Most of these messages remained displayed in the classrooms in a very limited number of cases. Schools chose to share them with local refugee support organisations. No personal information was exchanged. No direct contact between children and adults occurred. They said the activities followed an age-appropriate educational frameworks and adhered to the strictest safeguards and protocols possible. So there we go. All right, OK, loads more coming your way in a second.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, this is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Now, the cold theme will continue as we go through the next 24 hours, meaning there's going to be some frost, some ice, even some sleet and snow around. But snow is always quite tricky to forecast that specifically. That being said, we do have an area of low pressure making its way southeastwards at the moment, and it's this around it. We have some outbreaks of rain, a bit of sleet and some hill snow pushing southwards across parts of England and also Wales overnight. Across Northern Ireland, fairly frequent showers pushing through, and these could be a wintry mix. Also across northern parts of Scotland, plenty of showers here. Central southern Scotland actually having some clear skies, so temperatures plummeting. A very cold night here. Elsewhere, well, it is going to be chilly for sure. Some frost, some ice to watch out for as well. We start the day across the southeastern third of England on a pretty wet note. Some hill snow as well to watch out for. A few showers pushing into coastal parts of Wales and southwest England. Wintry showers and icy patches to watch out for over parts of Northern Ireland and northeast England and across the northern half of Scotland. While here we have plenty of showers feeding in on that brisk northerly wind which is bringing Arctic air down, and so no wonder we're going to see these showers readily falling as sleet or snow. Could see up to 20 centimetres developing perhaps over some modest higher ground. Even elsewhere where we see those showers coming down both down the eastern side of England and some western parts, southwest Wales, southwest England, we could see some lying snow as well. It is going to be a cold day, temperatures for many a little bit lower than today and feeling pretty raw indeed, despite the fact that there will be some sunshine around. Thursday's actually looking pretty similar to how we end Wednesday really, sticking with that northerly wind, so showers in the east, the north and perhaps towards the west, and these could be falling as rain, sleet or snow over any modest higher ground. Into Friday, and after a very cold frosty start for many, some rain's going to arrive later.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, the government is spying on your social media posts about immigration and...
Unfortunately, I am the one that is regularly called and told to go back home. It is...
Labour wants to cut illegal immigration for all the wrong reasons. Plus... well, a shocking story from Calais that the authorities do not want you to know about. Also...
The ambassador, we just want to give him a box of not British secrets. I know, but it's not British secrets, that's the thing. Do you only accept boxes that are?
Well, expect more of this on tomorrow's front pages. MI5 issues a new warning about China. Plus... well, it's bad news given the weather that we've got now. Councils are telling Brits to grit their own roads despite charging you more in tax. And...
we saw you the other day. We asked you some questions about where you were getting all the tools from. You couldn't answer them.
Robert Jenrick will be on about the scourge of tool theft. On my panel this evening, we've got GB News contributor Will Kingston, we've got Tory MP for Tatton, Esther McVeigh, and political commentator Jonathan Liss. And what's going on here? Yeah, did he say? Well, OK, anyway. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Why you should be angry about Labour's plans to cut illegal immigration. Next.
Patrick, thank you. The top stories. Nigel Farage has backed Shabana Mahmood's asylum crackdown after the Home Secretary told the Reform UK leader to sod off. Mr Farage told a Central London press conference today, rhetorically, we would agree with a lot of what she said.
Frankly, I don't actually think that most of what she said will make any difference at all.
And as for the gimmick, you know, we're going to take away people's watches and earrings. And I mean, this is just never going to happen. And rhetorically, fine, following very many of the things that we've been saying for some years. But in practice, I doubt much of it will actually happen.
It comes as the Home Secretary unveiled one of the toughest asylum shake-ups in decades. She says she'll get her reforms through Parliament despite anger from the Labour Party and unexpected backing from the Conservatives. Her plan brings in 20-year waits for permanent residency, tougher and faster removals, new visa bans and an end to guaranteed financial support. But critics warn the package is dystopian and inhumane. However, she says the package will restore order and control at the border. Net migration to the UK last year was 20% lower than previously thought, according to revised figures from the ONS. The number, the difference between those entering and leaving the country, has been revised down by 86,000 people and now stands at 345,000 in 2024. The driving factor behind the change is that more British nationals are thought to have emigrated in 2024 than initially recorded, with 100,000 fewer now thought to be living in the UK. Migration peaked higher than previously thought, according to the figures, adding 944,000 to the UK population between April of 2022 and March of 2023. Previous estimates put the number at 906,000 by June 2023. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy says accusations that China is trying to interfere with the UK's sovereign affairs are pure fabrication and malicious slander. It comes as a message that circulated to all parliamentary staff says the Chinese Ministry of State Security is using LinkedIn, recruitment firms and professional headhunters to make contact, gather information and build long-term relationships. Two individuals posing as recruiters have been singled out as operating at scale on behalf of Beijing, with MI5 warning other fake profiles are also being used as espionage fronts. Security Minister Dan Jarvis says the government will not tolerate covert and calculated attempts to interfere with the UK's sovereign affairs. Mr Jarvis announced a package of measures in the House of Commons to tackle espionage threats to the UK. And some breaking news in sport. Scotland have qualified for the 2026 World Cup after beating Denmark this evening. They won 4-2 in their final qualifier in Glasgow. It is Scotland's first men's World Cup since 1998. And those are the latest headlines. For now, more from me in an hour.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more, or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Good evening. Last night, Shabana Mahmood revealed her plans to cut illegal immigration. Now, tonight, I'm angry about some of the things that she said, like this.
Unfortunately, I am the one that is regularly called and told to go back home. It is I who knows through my personal experience and that of my constituents just how divisive the issue of asylum has become in our country.
She wants to act now because division in society has got so bad that she's being racially abused. Now, look, that is awful, and I am obviously very, very sorry that that is happening to her. But for decades, thousands of vulnerable working-class white girls were raped by Pakistani men, in part because they were white. They were seen as lesser than. That's racial abuse as well, isn't it? And when people said that they wanted to cut immigration because of stuff like that, that fell on deaf ears. So it seems to me now the division in society is affecting her, it needs to be stopped. Another thing that winds me up is this.
I care about the fact that I have an important job to do and I can see that there is a problem here that needs to be fixed. If it was possible to pretend there wasn't a problem because there wasn't one, I wouldn't be saying there is one. There is a genuine problem in this asylum system and we need someone to sort it out.
So she's now complaining about how it's got so bad that we need to act now. Well, should Shabana Mahmood and the Labour Party not have some self-awareness here? They were the ones who've been telling us for years that we need to take more refugees and asylum seekers. They're not illegals, they're irregular migrants. They're all doctors, brain surgeons and engineers, and they're all fleeing war and persecution. I mean, she did all the lovely, fluffy things that she thought she needed to do so that people could think that she was a nice person and she was on the right side of history.
Lesbos, where boats have been coming in all day. Around 30 boats have arrived already today. There's a couple of charitable organisations on the ground here, one of whom is offering immediate medical assistance.
Yeah, well, now she appears to be admitting that that's not true, that people are gaming the system, costing the taxpayer billions, that people shouldn't be allowed to bring all their extended family over, that people are pretending to be child migrants when they're actually fully grown adults. I mean, there was a massive hoo-ha when then Tory Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick ordered children's murals to be painted over at a child's asylum unit. And now, Labour's Shabana Mahmood wants to take jewellery and personal possessions off asylum seekers so that they can use it to pay for their own accommodation. Can people not see the hypocrisy here? It didn't need to get this bad. Another thing that winds me up is that so many people who worked at the hotels now being used to house illegal immigrants lost their jobs. Local business owners lost money because of the loss of tourism. Local residents lost their gym or swimming baths because they used to be members at the hotel's leisure clubs. Those people worried about their livelihoods and their way of life, and they were made to feel by many people in the Labour Party that they were racist and that they should just suck it up. Well, why is Shabana Mahmood getting tough on illegal immigration now? Look at the polls. Labour are down in 4th place. I mean, they're set to lose 351 seats at the next election. They'd be down to just 60 seats. Reform would get 313 seats. So now the issue of illegal immigration is going to cost them their jobs, their livelihoods, their MPs' salaries would go, their cushy subsidised lunches in Parliament would go, no more making the taxpayer pay for your expenses or for your train tickets or for your office stationery. Now it's their way of life that's going to be affected because of illegal immigration. They finally want to do something about it. But there is still a little bit of a Labour rebellion brewing. Look at tonight's headlines. There appears to be a growing Labour revolt over plans to cut illegal immigration. And where is Sir Keir Starmer while this is happening? Yeah, that's the one there about the revolt from Labour MPs. So where is Sir Keir Starmer? He's gone abroad again. He's in Berlin, meeting Macron and the German Chancellor. He's on track to hit 25 foreign trips this year. I mean, he did this when the welfare reforms were being pushed through. He just left the country. He didn't bother to try to sell it to his own MPs, and then U-turned on it at the last minute to avoid a rebellion. And now he's off again. But at least he's got time to pop up on the front page of today's Daily Mirror saying, oh, great, I'll lead Labour at the next election. He is aware that that election is going to take place in this country, isn't he? I welcome that Labour are at least saying that they're going to get tough. And I really hope it works. But they are doing it for all the wrong reasons. Their hearts aren't really in it, and it is their ideology that caused this mess in the first place. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. GBNews contributor Will Kingston, Tory MP for Tatton, Esther McVeigh, and then, of course, we've got Jonathan Liss as well, a journalist extraordinaire. Right, Esther, I'll start with you again. So, go on then. These plans... It felt to me as though Shabana Mahmood was saying that now, because, very unfortunately, right, she's facing some backlash and racism, she said there, that now it's gone too far. Well, hang on a minute. There was things like the Pakistani rape scandal where people wanted to stop, and that wasn't far enough, was it?
What, you're surprised that Labour's doing a screeching U-turn for self-interest? Now, come on, Patrick. You're quite right. Not long ago, she was signing the letter to make sure the criminals weren't deported to Jamaica. She was also saying that she wanted an amnesty for illegal migrants. She was doing the signs, refugees, welcome here. And then she's come forward with a much bolder, sterner, stricter process on what she's going to do for illegal immigrants. I would say she gave a brilliant performance in Parliament, but I will say it was just that. It was a performance. Most of the things can't be delivered unless she comes out of the Human Rights Act, comes out of the ECHR. It's undeliverable. It was all talk, and it will actually not go anywhere. And she was actually putting a stake in the ground for her leadership bid, maybe not this time, but next time.
Yeah. And it didn't need to get this bad. You know, for her to stand up and go, well, we're in a crisis, we've got a crisis. Well, who caused that crisis? Seriously.
Yeah, of course. And Esther is right, it was a performance. And I will give a shred of credit in that we have become used to having a robot as a Prime Minister and a Chancellor who doesn't exactly inspire confidence. She did look like she had gravitas there. She did look like a leader. And she's obviously angling for the top job. So, performance, Very impressive, very good. Will it work? Will it deter any boats? No, probably not, because we've said this on the show before, Patrick. If you want to solve this problem, you have to untangle the legal framework which stops us from detaining and deporting people. This does not go anywhere near the ECHR or the Human Rights Act or the Refugee Convention, and until you address that, you will not solve this problem.
Look, there's obviously no getting around as well the fact that one of the main reasons that we're in this situation is that for the last 14 years the Conservatives did not do enough. Absolutely. But I'll come to you on this, Jonathan, which is that, you know, had every opportunity that Labour had in the past, they clutched their pearls about things like painting over a Disney mural, some kind of asylum detention centre. Oh, you can't do that, you know. And now she's literally willing to take the watches off asylum seekers' wrists and flog them so they can have a night in a Premier Inn, right? So what was all of that for? All of that performative outrage before? What was the point of that?
Patchy, the thing with performative cruelty is that it's terrible whoever's doing it. Robert Jenrick was absolutely horrific in what he did, and I'll tell him so to his face if I get the chance. It was
he'll be listening now.
It was a
nakedly
disgusting piece of political opportunity, and he should be completely disgraceful.
Well, why are Labour admitting that they need to do all of those things now?
Now, what Labour is doing is not getting down to the absolute pettiness of Jenrick. It is a wholesale reform of the asylum system. I, for one, think it's absolutely dire. And I will say that as a person who wants Labour to succeed, because I think that consistency in principle is more important than tribalism.
So you acknowledge that they've sold their principles down the road?
Absolutely.
So did they ever have any to begin with?
Well, I don't know, Patrick. You look at... I'd like to believe that somewhere in Shabana Mahmood's record, and there is a consistent record of her being very, very strong on human rights, very strong on sort of Palestinian rights, for example, and also, and as you say, on refugees, etc. So maybe if I'm offering a good faith explanation, she has got into power, she sees that this is a major issue with the public, and she wants to get it done. But I think this is the wrong way to go about it.
I'll just say, just quickly, the thing that frustrates me about elements of the left is that they seem to get more upset about performative cruelty and nasty words than women and children being assaulted and actual crime and actual violence, which hopefully this can solve. But here's the problem as well. One of the biggest concerns that the public has is that these people are not being detained in, for example, a military facility or offshore, Ascension Island or wherever. Yeah. That's not going to change. The same fundamental threat to women and children will remain under this plan.
When people talk about detaining people in military facilities, guess who's always up in arms about it? The MPs, often Conservative MPs, whose constituencies...
Or Green Party councillors.
Right,
or Green
whose
Party
constituencies host those...
I disagree with that.
Look, there were people, I do think this gets overlooked a lot. There are plenty of people who used to work at these hotels and people who used to enjoy the hotels as well because they often had gyms and leisure facilities, etc. And when people there were moaning, or not moaning, just legitimately complaining that they'd lost their jobs or their livelihoods were at risk, they told, just suck it up, Buttercup. But now these Labour MPs are staring down the barrel of a wipeout at the next election, so their jobs are on the line, so they want to do something about it.
You know, it is self-interest. I don't believe they will do anything about this. Really, what needs to be done is detain and deport, so they never come into the country, because it's going to be a lot difficult, or more difficult, to get rid of people further down the line. They are now realising, Labour, that it was a massive mistake to get rid of Rwanda. They should have either seen whether it worked or whether it didn't work, but that was a deterrent. This is not going to be something solved with a simple thing. It will need a whole host of different things, but Rwanda definitely was the deterrent they needed, and some of the other stuff, but really, it's for the birds. Most of what she delivered are just empty words.
Yeah, I don't think people...
And also the key thing, which I think you will see her left-wing sort of credentials coming forward, she's going to increase the number of safe and legal routes into the country. Yeah. So these figures won't be coming down.
Well, look, if she does that, Esther, if she does that, I would wholeheartedly applaud that, because at the moment...
That's right, because you want open borders.
I don't want open borders, Esther.
Do.
What I want is safe and legal routes for asylum seekers to come in here, because at the moment we have outsourced this to the people smugglers who are making billions of pounds, and we are funding that criminality.
All right. Does anyone know what you might? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know. I didn't know what the E3 is.
A visa.
No. Right. The E3 is apparently this group which is us, the French and the Germans. So it's Keir Starmer, Macron, and is it Merz?
Yeah.
No? Yeah, there you are, Chancellor.
Is that the drinks tonight?
That's the drinks tonight. So Sir Keir Starmer, again, this is now, there's a whiff of a Labour rebellion. It's getting some pushback from The Guardian and places like that. He managed to get himself on the front cover of the Daily Mirror saying, completely bumping Shabana Mahmood off, saying, I'll be leading you into the next election. And it's like he's just looked around for any event he can go to get him out of Britain, and he's going abroad again. He's gone. He's in Berlin.
Birthday, so he's having drinks with them tonight. A couple of schnapps. I think that's what it is.
Is that seriously it?
I think it is his birthday. He'll be back tomorrow. So we'll be tired, actually, for PMQs tomorrow. But it is any excuse to be out the country. He's possibly now out either 4 or 6 times before Christmas. And if he says, I'll be leading you into the next general election, because it's going to be next May.
Patrick, can I make a point coming back to the topic? I think you've actually made a really important point, perhaps inadvertently.
Stop it.
Which is that it's not a point that you were intending. It's not a point you're intending to make. But Labour is desperate to appeal to reform voters by saying we're going to get tough on immigration, we can believe us, we believe in this. And then people like you will say, well, you've got the right policy, but we don't actually believe that you're doing this for the right reasons. We don't have any credibility. You don't have any credibility, and we don't have faith in you. So actually, what they're doing, it's not going to even work on a political level.
So last night,
no one actually believes that they believe it.
I agree entirely. 100%.
Except, can I tell you how vicious and how upset the Labour MPs are in the House? It is not a wise move for them to have done all of this, basically, bluster about what she's going to do with the immigration. It is absolutely desperate on the Labour backbenchers. And I think Rachel Reeves is going to have to suffer the consequences here, because she's going to have to buy the left off with gifts, whether that is the benefit or what have you. So this budget could be even worse, because Shabama sort of showed a bit of ankle about what she was going to do on immigration. I'm telling you, I told you last week what was going to go on and how Rachel Reeves was disliked because of what she was doing with the budget, and that was the left of the party.
Left-wing budget's what we want.
And it transpired that was true.
The problem that Labor will have is that this is not a policy area that you can spin, because at the end of every day there will still be a number on the media which says this is the amount of people that arrived. Some policy areas you can spin and you can tell a good story. Here, we will know whether or not it works. I don't think it will stop deter a single person.
Well, there we go. Look, we're going to have to...
We'll see.
We will see. And just quickly to your point, I get what you're saying. I mean, last night it was very fresh. I think she'd finished speaking about 7 or so, hadn't she? So we were in the office here. So, I mean, at face value, I was broadly in favour of it. I still am broadly in favour of it. It's just the idea of how deliverable it is. And I am annoyed that it's come to this, because I think it's people like Shabana Mahmood and people in the Labour Party who have helped to create a situation where it has got desperate, and for them to stand there and say, oh gosh, things are so bad now, we need radical action.
The Labour
it didn't
Party
need to happen, you know.
Frustrated any move to stop any form of illegal migration. They absolutely opposed everything, and now they're not.
Rwanda was much crueler than anything Mahmoud proposed.
Rwanda was right.
We've got to go. OK, look, when I come back, Robert Jenrick is going to be in the studio, actually, Jonathan's favourite person, because he's done really quite a good another crime-fighting video, this time on tool theft. So there we go. Well, huzzah! Exactly.
Self-promoting video.
As the supporter of a party whose leader is the son of a toolmaker, I thought you would be banging in favour of this, Jonathan. But anyway, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash, so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. And the best news? You'll get it all in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Coming up, I've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, but first...
We saw you the other day. We asked you some questions about where you were getting all the tools from. You couldn't answer them.
Look, there is a tool theft epidemic ruining tradesmen's livelihoods. There is, you laugh, but it's ruining people's lives, mate. It's ruining people's lives. And it's very... OK, what should I say? Tool theft what?
No, I know.
Crisis? Does that make you feel better? OK, it's a tool theft crisis, and Roy Jemrick is here to talk about it, and why, actually, despite what he might think, it does matter to you. That's next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
There's a lot of tables out there that won't just have turkey on it. There'll be turkey and ham, and but I know some people that will cook 3 or 4 different meats. And obviously the joy of having turkey is that you can then make a turkey curry for Boxing Day and the subsequent days. So, you know, you should be having days of curry after your turkey lunch. I think for the masses, it's still hugely popular. You know, through the festive period at the Dog, we will have hundreds of people having Christmas parties, and most of them will order our turkey lunch or dinner. And then Christmas Day, we could sell it probably 3 or 4 times. The demand for people to go out for the traditional turkey roast is still massive. But hey, look, if you don't like a roast lunch, then why force yourself to have it on the, you know, probably one of the most important meals of the day in terms of bringing family together.
What about Sophie's point, Mark, about cost and spending £30, £40 on turkey? That is simply too expensive for lots of people.
Yeah, I'll never be able to defend or debate that. You know, I know more than anyone the challenges around food inflation, and a good turkey has become a huge cost. But I still think where people can afford the tradition, the joy of coming together, sharing a big turkey roast meal it's a brilliant Christmas tradition. But yeah, the food inflation, that's something we've talked about a number of times, isn't it? You know, it's crippling our business and it's crippling people at homes. I suppose the key thing to look at is if you know what you're doing with it, a good turkey will feed the family for many days. It's not just one meal.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. OK, look, we cover crime a lot on this show, and I make no excuses for it. There is a tool theft epidemic happening, and it's costing British tradesmen millions of quid a year. New figures show that more than 25,000 thefts were reported in 2024. That's 1 every 21 minutes. By the way, robberies is even worse. There was 80,297 robberies recorded in the year to June 2025, which is an incomprehensibly large amount of robberies. Politicians across all parties are now saying that, we need tougher sentencing, as tradespeople warn that crime is destroying livelihoods and businesses. Well, a man who's took matters into his own hands before and has decided to do it again is Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jemrick. Here he is.
We saw you the other day. We asked you some questions about where you were getting all the tools from. You couldn't answer them. Now you're making a quick exit, are you? Are you going to keep on selling tools like this?
Are you going to keep on coming here?
I am, yeah. I'm gonna keep doing this until guys like you stop doing this. Do you not think it looks a bit suspicious? As soon as you saw us walking around, you started taking your tools away.
Oh, well, I'm joined now by the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jerry. Look, Robert, thank you very much. Great to see you. God, tell us why this matters, then. Why does this matter, this tool theft stuff?
Well, it's personal to me, actually. My dad set up a small business with a white van and a little business unit, and I remember when they were broken into in the middle of the night, and the worry, the strain on family finances, the fact that you couldn't make good on orders or do the jobs you were supposed to do the next day. And so this isn't a new issue, but it is getting much worse. And across the country right now, tradesmen's vans are being broken into, their tools are being nicked, and what's even worse than that is they're being sold in plain sight at car boot sales. I've been to 4 now and seen some of them literally thousands of tools laid out on the floor, on the grass. The guys who are selling this think they're invincible, that they can do it with complete impunity. The police are nowhere in sight, the local councils and trading standards nowhere to be seen. This is complete disgrace. These are some of the most hard-working people in Britain. They deserve us to have their backs. What I want to see now are the police raiding these car boot sales, bringing this sale to an end and making sure that we support these people.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you, because about whether or not the police are doing enough. I mean, you would have thought that this is a bit of a safe bet, really. There's a field full of stolen tools over there. Can they not? Why aren't they doing more?
Well, you're right. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to work out what's going on here. Tools are being sold often at 1/10 of their value. No one can explain where they got them from when you ask them. They get very angry and threatening. Sometimes they walk away, they put balaclavas on. Sometimes they're actively threatening to you and try and get you off the site. And the video you just showed was a car boot sale in Bushy that I went to on Sunday, where actually as soon as they saw me, because they know that I'm campaigning on this issue now, they started chucking all the tools into their van, drove off across the playing field and scarpered within minutes. So it's obvious what's happening here. Some police forces are being good. I went with the Met Police to a raid of a giant car boot sale in Romford not so long ago, where they made arrests. They found vans stuffed to the brim with tools, but others are really not doing anything at all. And that's why we're trying to raise the profile of this, encourage every police force in the country to take it seriously, because this isn't a minor crime. It's actually very serious. It's destroying livelihoods and causing immense harm to the tradespeople and their families.
I think it also points to a wider societal problem. Now, I get very frustrated when I see the usual suspects coming out. I mean, literally on Sunday, people were openly celebrating the fact that we've only had 93 murders in our capital city in a year. Like that's a victory. But then if you look at some of the other crimes here, 80,297 recorded robberies in the year to June 2025. And again, there is, well, they're right, aren't they, to think that people can get away with this stuff. It's not all about the headline grabbing, the murders, which are obviously as bad as it gets, but it's all this other stuff going on underneath. It's actually getting worse, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. Look, there are some types of crime which are falling. Murder is an example. But there are other crimes, actually the ones that affect far more people and are much more visible, like mobile phone theft, burglary, shoplifting, tradesmen having their vans broken into and their tools nicked, handbags being stolen, so-called acquisitive crime on the bus, on public transport. Those things are all on the rise. And in some parts of our country, it's actually at epidemic levels. And that's why we've got to step up and take action, because none of us want to live in a country like that, where there are blue lines painted on Oxford Street telling you don't step too close to the road because somebody on a bike or a moped will nick your mobile phone, or a tradesman can't sleep at night for worry that his van's going to get broken into outside the travel lodge when he's away from home doing a job. That's not good enough. We can be better than that. What I want to see is the police prioritising the crimes that really impact people in their daily lives, not wasting time with nonsense like policing what people are tweeting on social media. And I want to see these people actually locked up. Because if you commit these crimes, and yeah, we might give them a second chance, but not a third, fourth, fifth, not a 50th chance, as they are at the moment. People doing these crimes, hyper-prolific offenders, need to be sent to prison. We have gone to the Met Police and we've gone to the car boot sale, or whatever you call it. So I'm going to read out what they said in a minute. But look, whilst I've got you, I mean, the news that has been dominating for the last couple of days anyway has obviously been Shabana Mahmood's immigration, illegal immigration plans. We've covered it quite extensively at 10 p.m. Are you of
Are you going to vote in favour of these plans, then, as it stands at the minute in Parliament, if it comes to Parliament? What's your plan for that?
Yeah, look, I suspect we will support the plans because there are some good things within it, but it's not enough. You know, I know that some sections of the media have given this a good reaction, and fair dues, but I've seen this play before. I've seen Home Secretaries stand up and propose incremental change, and it just not work. And I actually feel sorry for your viewers tonight, sat at home, being sold a pup by yet another Home Secretary who's making promises that they know they cannot deliver. The only way to fix this problem is to change our human rights laws, leave the European Convention on Human Rights, and detain and deport absolutely everyone who enters our country illegally. It's only when a Home Secretary and a Prime Minister, frankly, have the courage to do that that we'll actually resolve this issue. Otherwise, this will just go on and on and on, causing immense harm to this country, and the British public deserve better than that.
Well, look, I mean, obviously, Spanham is not here, but I know what the Home Office say, I know what she would say, which is that, you know, this is the toughest that they've basically ever been on it, and...
Well, it's not, Patrick. Remember, in 2023, I legislated with Suella Braverman that if you entered this country illegally, you couldn't claim asylum. No way. What is happening now? Labour are actually repealing that law to say that if you come here illegally on a small boat, you can claim asylum. And yet it might be a slightly different process. Maybe you don't get the right to full settlement in the UK for many years, even 20 years, but you can claim asylum here. And I just think that's fundamentally wrong. There's nothing unsafe about life in France. What are they fleeing from? Emmanuel Macron? I mean, if you're living in France, getting in a small boat, coming to this country, you do not have a leg to stand on. So don't be fooled into thinking what Shabana Mahmood is announcing is the toughest ever measures. Actually, it's backsliding on where we were before, and it's not going to fix this problem.
OK, all right, and again, I know you're going to disagree with this, but it's the line that we've had several times from the Home Office, now they like to wheel it out, which is that they say that they've deported more people in the last year than the Tories did, and all of that. So there we go. But, Robert, thank you very much.
Very good
Always
to see you.
Pleasure. Robert Jeffrey there, the Shadow Justice Secretary, crime fighter extraordinaire. A spokesperson for the Met Police has said, we know tool theft has a significant impact on tradespeople, and we continue to work hard across the Met to tackle it, working with partners to target prolific offenders and organised crime groups through proactive intelligence-led operations. Earlier this year, we seized more than £500,000 worth of stolen tools during operations at two large-scale boot sales and associated premises in Romford and Raynham, making a number of arrests, and the work is ongoing. So we also went to Hounslow Heath Car Boot, which is one of the places that Robert went to, and they said, we do not permit stolen goods whatsoever to be sold at our car boot sale. This is shown on the signage we have on the site, the leaflets that we provide each seller outlining our terms and conditions upon entry, which are accepted by receiving the leaflet as they enter our car boot sale. Our website, www.hounslowheathcarboot.co.uk, also outlines these terms. They also say they've been working with the Met Police for the past 18 months, and the vehicle registrations of anyone selling power tools are provided to police weekly. The police perform regular visits, which we encourage as well. And apparently the police have requested that 8 vehicles be refused entry to their car boot sale, which we've enforced, and these vehicles are no longer able to attend said car boot sales. So there we go. Well, anyway. Right, coming up, we have got all of your front pages. The Daily Telegraph has just landed. I am finding this out at the same time as you are. The breaking news is apparently that Britain is not ready to defend an invasion. Well, we know that, don't we, given what's been going on the South Coast for quite a while. But anyway, stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's going to be an unsettled week across eastern parts of the Mediterranean with intense thundery rain by the weekend. Further west, it's drier, but there will be some rain around northern coastal parts of Spain, also pushing into parts of Portugal and West Spain as well. Also some rain across southern Italy, but it's further east affecting Greece, Albania, Croatia and other nearby nations. This is where we're going to have the heaviest, most thundery rain, particularly as we go Friday and into Saturday. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. This is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Now, the cold theme will continue as we go through the next 24 hours, meaning there's going to be some frost, some ice, even some sleet and snow around. But snow is always quite tricky to forecast that specifically. That being said, we do have an area of low pressure making its way southeastwards at the moment, and it's this around it we have some outbreaks of rain, a bit of sleet and some hill snow pushing southwards across parts of England and also Wales overnight. Across Northern Ireland, fairly frequent showers pushing through, and these could be a wintry mix. Also across northern parts of Scotland, plenty of showers here. Central southern Scotland actually having some clear skies, so temperatures plummeting. A very cold night here. Elsewhere, well, it is going to be chilly for sure. Some frost, some ice to watch out for as well. We start the day across the southeastern third of England on a pretty wet note. Some hill snow as well to watch out for. A few showers pushing into coastal parts of Wales and southwest England. Wintry showers and icy patches to watch out for over parts of Northern Ireland and northeast England and across the northern half of Scotland. Well, here we have plenty of showers feeding in on that brisk northerly wind which is bringing Arctic air down, and so no wonder we're going to see these showers readily falling as sleet or snow. Could see up to 20 centimetres developing perhaps over some modest higher ground. Even elsewhere where we see those showers coming down both down the eastern side of England and some western parts, southwest Wales, southwest England, we could see some lying snow as well. It is going to be a cold day, temperatures for many a little bit lower than today and feeling pretty raw indeed, despite the fact that there will be some sunshine around. Thursday's actually looking pretty similar to how we end Wednesday really, sticking with that northerly wind, so showers in the east, the north and perhaps towards the west, and these could be falling as rain, sleet or snow over any modest higher ground. Into Friday, and after a very cold frosty start for many, some rain's going to arrive later.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. Let's have a first look at those front pages. The Metro, Google boss AI can't be trusted. OK, right, cheers for stating the bleeding obvious. I wonder if he's wearing Google's AI glasses as he said that. Anyway, The Independent, MI5 issues alert to MPs over China's spies on LinkedIn. The I paper, Reeves privately tells Labour MPs, I'll hit wealthy with the mansion tax in budget. With respect, it's not been that private, has it? Because we've been briefing this out for quite a while, and it turns out a load of those mansions are actually flats. So, turns out you're wealthier than you thought, flat dwellers. The Daily Telegraph, Britain is not ready to defend an invasion. I'll get some more detail on this for you now. Britain is not ready to defend itself from attack, a major report has warned. Following a year-long inquiry, the Commons Defence Committee said Labour was moving at a glacial pace in the face of renewed threats from Russia and China. So look, whilst, by the way, can I just say, I think this is absolutely true, and we've all known it for some time. Remember we had that Trident nuclear test launch and the thing plopped into the water. It is also, as you'll be aware, very nearly budget time, and the defence sector always ramps up the need for more funding just before the budget. So there you go. Go on.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but I thought what was interesting here, the chairman of the Commons Defence Committee is a Labour MP, Tan Desi, and they had obviously had a fallout because he was Shadow Transport Minister who was never given a job. And again, you've got more and more people who are upset with Starmer. He hasn't followed through with his promises of a review and this strategic new defence money that he was going to put forward. He's done none of that, but he's got enemies within his own party. So I just thought it was interesting. Who's done the review?
Yeah, well, let's go on to The Guardian. Now, this will interest people, OK? So they've got two lead stories here. The one on the left is alarm as MI5 names China spy suspects targeting MPs. The other story, as you'll notice, is a rather large picture of Nigel Farage smoking a cigar. And they go with this. Nigel Farage, fresh claims of racist and anti-Semitic behaviour at school. Multiple accounts of offensive incidents rejected by Reform leader. And so what they are claiming is that they've spoken to people who went to school with him, and there's a quote that I'm going to read here now. He would sidle up to me and growl, "Hitler was right," or gas them, sometimes adding a long hiss to simulate the sound of gas showers. And this is apparently according to a BAFTA-winning director who was among his contemporaries. He's calling for an apology. Nigel Farage, I will say, denies this in the strongest possible terms. Will, what do you make of that?
Well, if it's a BAFTA-winning director, they are almost certainly on the left. Is the first thing to say.
Right.
But these types of stories every week for the next 3 years. This happened, when did he go to school? 40 years ago? There's no way to prove it. It is complete, it is just... This is just going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming after him with all of this unprovable
It does interest me
mud
that
just to throw at him.
This appears to be, and again, look, I've got this front page in real time, so I can only read the first bits of this. I'll read more of it in the break, and we'll get back to you. But it appears to me to be a rehash of an old Led by Donkeys so-called sting of him, where they allege that that's where David Lammy got the "he flirted with the Hitler Youth" thing from. That's what this seems to be to me. But they've just spoken to someone who went to school with him.
Well, I mean,
or says he.
I obviously haven't read the whole piece because it hasn't been published yet, but I will do so and see how many people The Guardian has spoken to. Will, I think it's probably fair to say that there is not CCTV or sort of audio footage of Farage making any kind of comments about the Hitler Youth at school in 1981. That doesn't mean that people can't form reasonable conclusions in the face of evidence about what he might have said at school. Now, it's interesting because, I could ask you, if such a thing were to be true, I'm not saying it is, but would you accept that apology in good faith or not?
The apology from who?
If, for example, Farage said, yes, this is true, but it was 40 years ago and that's no longer represented. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying that if he did, would that change anything? I mean, the point I'm making is that how much will this affect people who want to vote for reform?
I don't think it's...
So, I mean, because if you were to say, I don't believe that now, is that going to be enough people? Or will people look back and say, if you believed it then, I'm not going to vote for you now?
I was just sort of questioning the credibility of what went on. They were 13. He's now 61. We're talking it's like 58 or something years ago. Yeah. And now he's remembering it and bringing it forward. Yeah. I just think it's very...
Well, that's the people who have been saying things about Farage's school days for many, many years. He wasn't high profile.
It is odd that it didn't come out...
During Brexit, when he was leading UKIP, in the 30-odd years he's been in the public life.
Well, I mean, his school teacher wrote a school report alleging all kinds of very sinister behaviour back in the 1980s.
Trying to get other people to come forward? Do you think this is like a phishing article on the front page? Will other people come forward and give this a bit more credibility? Is that what the Guardian are doing?
The fundamental point is that people... when you're a child, when you're under the age of 18, you may say very silly things. Now, it may be that people come forward and say, Farage said this, Farage said that, and it may be that they don't. But Farage eventually will have to say either, all these people are lying or wrong, or whatever.
Well, I think that's basically what he's saying.
There are a huge amount of people who hate him and think he is dangerous for the country and will go to very extreme lengths to stop his progress.
Well, there are all kinds of people who I disagree with in politics, and you don't hear stories about them at school.
OK. All right. Well, look, there you go. I'll just say again, rejected. All of this has been rejected by Nigel Farage. We'll have more detail on that in a little bit. But here we go. So, On the 13th of November, we reported that Schools of Sanctuary was promoting pro-asylum seeker or open borders views to children, such as encouraging Valentine's cards for asylum seekers, and that they had been asked by the Department for Education to identify schools refusing refugee pupils. We hadn't heard back from them at the time, but the organisation has since told us, "We are not directly involved in the delivery of activities in classrooms. The activity in question, undertaken in a small number of schools, has fundamentally been mischaracterised. Children were not writing personal Valentine's cards to adults in the asylum system. Pupils wrote brief anonymous messages of welcome, simple statements like "welcome to our town" or "we hope you feel safe here." Most of these messages remained displayed in classrooms in a very limited number of cases. Some chose to share them with local refugee support organisations. No personal information was exchanged. No direct contact between children and adults occurred. They said the activities followed age-appropriate educational frameworks and adhered to stringent safeguarding protocols. They went on. Our Schools of Sanctuary programme supports schools in teaching empathy, community values and understanding of displacement, themes that align with citizenship, education and British values curriculum requirements. Misrepresentation of educational activities that teach compassion does a disservice to schools, teachers and the communities they serve. Well, there we go. OK, coming up, we've got more front pages for you. The Daily Mail, a few ill-advised remarks at a public school teacher who lost his job and then his life.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breast cancer is the most common cancer in the UK, and over a lifetime, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer. It's mostly affecting women over 50. As you mentioned before, it does affect a small proportion of men, less than 1%, but still there is a potential risk. The good news is, if caught early, survival is excellent due to improved treatments and new drugs. So 99% of women and men survive for more than 5 years if caught early. And overall, the breast cancer survival rate is about 85%, which is fantastic. It's important to know that you have to check. Women have to learn to check their breasts. So if you notice anything different, dimpling, change in shape, a lump, go and get it checked out. Even though survival rates are much improved, we do have less survival here compared to other countries. So, for example, in America, 90% of women will survive over 10 years if they're with breast cancer. So it is important to get checked out just as soon as you notice any changes whatsoever.
Why is there that difference, Lucy, between, say, us and America, for example?
Well, the UK lags behind generally in cancer survival, 10 to 25 years, they estimate, over a range of cancers. That includes prostate, ovarian, lung, breast and bowel cancer. And there could be a number of reasons, but I think part of the problem, the NHS is great when you get to the front of the queue, isn't it? But it's actually getting there.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, OK, let's whiz you through the last remaining newspaper front pages then. So we start this round with the Daily Mail. A few ill-advised remarks and a public school teacher who lost his job and his life. Look, it is a devastating story, this. We're going to talk about this more in the next hour, but he was fired after saying no gum, no gays about a trip to Singapore, where chewing gum is banned, and Malaysia, where homosexuality is illegal. It was a joke. He lost his job over it and then, sadly, took his own life, and he was a teacher at a top public school, Marlborough College. But more on that later on. The Sun, Kremlin Brits war crimes. An ex-civil servant who backs tyrant Vladimir Putin has become the first Brit to face war crimes charges. The Daily Mirror, Farage told me, quote, Hitler was right. He's been busy, this film director. He alleges that Nigel Farage said all this stuff to him. Nigel denies it. The Times, big story on the top of the Times. So children born in the UK could be deported after the asylum reforms. Children born in the UK to refugee parents will face deportation under Shabana Mahmood's crackdown. The Home Office has confirmed. Well,
the UK doesn't have birthright citizenship, so this is appropriate. Again, I still don't think it will happen because you still have an ideologically captured judiciary, and some judge somewhere will say this will be a breach of human rights and the kid will stay in the country along with their parents. That's why the legal framework is the issue here.
Esther, quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. This will all be gummed up in the courts. It will not happen. That's what I said. It was all empty words.
Just very, very quickly, Jonathan, presumably you think this is evil.
Of course. I hope that Kenny Badenoch comes out against it, given that she benefited from birthright citizenship in 1980 before they changed the law.
OK. Did she? Do we know that?
Yeah.
As I believe it, her mother came over for medical treatment, had her, and then they went back to Nigeria shortly afterwards.
OK. All right.
Kenny Badenoch is the absolute embodiment of pulling the ladder up after herself.
No, but this is Shabana's rules, and we're just saying it won't work. It was all tough talking. It isn't a reality, and it'll get bogged down in legal appeals.
Esther, it's a horrendous policy, whoever's proposing it.
OK, right. Well, look, we've got another hour to go through all of the front pages, haven't we? And there is a lot to go at. There's that development. Should children who are born in the UK still be deported if their parents are deported? A couple of so-called revelations on both The Guardian and The Mirror about Nigel Farage, which he denies, and making a joke, which actually, to be honest with you, I don't really think he's that offensive, given that he's quoting the law in both of those countries. Cost a teacher his job and then ultimately his life. And that is an absolutely devastating state of affairs. So we've got all of that and much more coming your way after this.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. This is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Now, the cold theme will continue as we go through the next 24 hours, meaning there's going to be some frost, some ice, even some sleet and snow around. But snow is always quite tricky to forecast that specifically. That being said, we do have an area of low pressure making its way southeastwards at the moment, and it's this around it. We have some outbreaks of rain, a bit of sleet and some hill snow pushing southwards across parts of England and also Wales overnight. Across Northern Ireland, fairly frequent showers pushing through, and these could be a wintry mix. Also across northern parts of Scotland, plenty of showers here. Central southern Scotland actually having some clear skies, so temperatures plummeting. A very cold night here. Elsewhere, well, it is going to be chilly for sure. Some frost, some ice to watch out for as well. We start the day across the southeastern third of England on a pretty wet note. Some hill snow as well to watch out for. A few showers pushing into coastal parts of Wales and southwest England. Wintry showers and icy patches to watch out for over parts of Northern Ireland and northeast England and across the northern half of Scotland. While here we have plenty of showers feeding in on that brisk northerly wind which is bringing Arctic air down, and so no wonder we're going to see these showers readily falling as sleet or snow. Could see up to 20 centimetres developing perhaps over some modest higher ground. Even elsewhere where we see those showers coming down both down the eastern side of England and some western parts, southwest Wales, southwest England, we could see some lying snow as well. It is going to be a cold day, temperatures for many a little bit lower than today and feeling pretty raw indeed, despite the fact that there will be some sunshine around. Thursday's actually looking pretty similar to how we end Wednesday really, sticking with that northerly wind, so showers in the east, the north and and perhaps towards the west, and these could be falling as rain, sleet or snow over any modest higher ground. Into Friday, and after a very cold, frosty start for many, some rain's going to arrive later.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, apparently this government has decided that they're going to deport children who were born in this country if they obviously decide to deport their parents who have refugee status. Quite a remarkable turn of events that I'm not really sure how they're going to get through the courts. I wonder if you are in favour of it, though. So there's that. The China spy story is back as well, so we're going to talk about why this government won't just class China as an enemy. They continually are spying on us. It's getting ridiculous. It's got ridiculous, hasn't it?